Welcome back to my channel here, and I want to just teach you today how to freeze dry tomatoes, because look what I got here. I've got a big old box of tomatoes over here. These up, and we're gonna make some tomato chips. And check this out. I've got some bread dough rising here. It's all popped up. So it's about ready to be made into homemade bread, which will happen today as well. I'm cutting these about 1/4 inch thick. I'd try to go as thin as you can though. Okay, that's our tray. So let's season these up. And we can even do another layer. I'll put some parchment here and we'll do another layer here. But let's season them up with some of that Creole seasoning, Tony Kacher's, okay? And a little bit of basil. And let's do another layer. Okay, so here's what we've got. I've cut down this parchment paper to put over this layer, because we can go a little higher with this stack and put it in the freeze dryer, because these aren't going to puff up so big like candy does in a freeze dryer, like a gummy bear or something. This isn't going to do that. Sometimes if you get it too full of soup, it can puff up and overflow in your freeze dryer. But tomatoes are okay to double layer up, and some things you'll find will be okay to do that, all right? So let's just go ahead and get another layer of tomatoes on top and season those up. Okay, here we are. We are double layered up with these tomatoes now. And I only had to use one pan, so that was cool. That means I can get more into my freeze dryer. I've got the basil on there. A little bit of Creole. And we can put these in the freeze dryer. In my garage now, where I moved the freeze dryer to. I'm really excited about this because it is noisy, and now it's cooled down enough in Arizona where I can put my freeze dryer in the garage. So I'm putting that tray of tomatoes in there. And since Halloween was yesterday, I made my kids throw a bunch of candy on these freeze-dried trays here. We got some Tootsie Rolls, Milky Ways, all that kind of stuff. Because we can freeze dry whatever and keep it fresh, and maybe, hey, next Halloween, I'll have some freeze-dried candy to give out to people. How about that? So I still have room for one more tray right here. I need to dice up some more tomatoes. We can do some diced tomatoes on here. We can make some tomato sauce. We can make some salsa. We can make some crushed tomatoes. We can make spaghetti sauce or pizza sauce, whatever we want to make. Put it on a tray and put it in here. So I'm going to leave these here, and I'm going to make sure I get them going for sure today, because that wouldn't be good to keep that like that, okay? I gotta get going on my bread, and then I'll come back, finish that last tray, do something with it, maybe dice up some tomatoes and freeze dry them. And I think that's what I'll do. That's gonna be the easiest thing for me to do. Or I definitely love tomato sauce. I use it in my cooking of my rice to make some Mexican rice, so I might do some tomato sauce. I need to figure out what I'm gonna do first for that last tray, get it on there, and then get going with this. As you can see, we've diced up tomatoes to throw those in our freeze dryer. We're gonna go ahead and season those the same way. We could just do basil if we want. I think I'll just do basil on this one. Just like that, and then we can take another layer of parchment paper, set it down like that. I'll cut some more tomatoes and just throw them over the top. Those will be ready to go into the freeze dryer. Okay, we're gonna get this going here. So I'm gonna stick that tray of diced tomatoes right there at the top. We're gonna put our cushion in there. And you have to make sure that when you put this cushion in, it's not blocking the seal in any way. Okay, so you've got to kind of stuff the sides in there. Now we're ready to shut the freeze dryer. We're gonna hit start. This is a non-liquid. This is not frozen. It says please close drain valve and then continue. So the drain valve is actually down here. I don't know if you can see it back here. This is the drain valve. My hair's in the way. It's in my hand right here. And I need to turn it. You close it, and then we're gonna hit continue. And then now it says it's freezing, so we're good to leave this alone now. There's a couple of numbers here at the top. I don't know if you can see. You can't really see the screen. It says it's freezing though. And then there's a couple of numbers up here that's hard to see because this is bright against, oh, hang on. Process complete, warm trays. All right, hang on. I pushed something. We gotta start over here. Okay, start. Non-liquid, not frozen. Continue. Okay, and then up here it's counting how long it's taking. So we'll know exactly when this is done, how many hours it took us. So let's just let it go. And that is how you freeze dry food. Super easy.
The diced tomatoes and the tomato chips are done in the freeze dryer, and I had to keep restarting the freeze dryer because they just were still wet. So these probably, I can even feel one or two that might be a little bit still wet. Might need to even keep going longer on these diced here. But this has already taken probably 38 hours to do this. Okay, and I don't know if it's because I stacked them or what. But the diced, I mean, they're pretty dry, but I can still feel some wet spots. So I feel like those need to go a little bit longer, maybe even another couple hours, but the tomato chips are done. Here are those tomato chips. Let's give them a try. They're really good. They got a little bit of a kick with that Creole seasoning too. So these are done. At least I think they are. So we'll go ahead and put those in a jar and seal them up and snack on them.
Okay, you guys, so those freeze-dried tomatoes, in order to reconstitute them and make them moist again, you're gonna have to spritz them with water. If you want to just use them as a drained diced tomato. They'll rehydrate just like a can of tomatoes. You can even just add some water to maybe a handful of those diced tomatoes, and it would be like adding a can of diced tomatoes to any recipe that you have. As far as the freeze dryer goes, I purchased that freeze dryer through Harvest Right. They are a freeze dryer company, and that size that I have was probably around $5,000. It's not a cheap machine because the motor for it is an oil-less. It doesn't take any oil. There's two different kinds of motors. You can get one that takes oil, one that does not, and I opted for the one that doesn't. And so that's why my machine was more expensive. There's a small, a medium, and a large size. And I have the medium that holds 4 trays. So if you're thinking of getting a freeze dryer, probably do that right now because they are on back order, and it will take about 3 months for you to even get that machine. No kidding. So anyways, just wanted to give you a little heads up on where I got my machine and how to rehydrate those tomatoes. You just spritz them with water. Anything coming out of a dehydrator, you can just add water or spritz it with water or steam it, and it just brings it right back to life. Or you can just eat it crunchy like I do a lot of the times. All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.